From the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution, I'm Joel Norwood with your farm news and markets here on Monday. USDA this past week said they will release approximately $20 million in funding for previously approved contracts which had been frozen by the Trump administration's push to overhaul the federal government. Now, there are still some funds being withheld, we're told. Some of that released includes from the Inflation Reduction Act money for contracts signed with farmers under the EQIP program, Conservation Stewardship Program, and the Ag Conservation Easement Program. American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall says good news for producers.
We appreciate the decision by Secretary Rollins to release funds for conservation programs contracts that USDA entered into with farmers and ranchers. The freezing of funds created uncertainty for farm families who have already invested in improvements on their land that received a financial commitment from the federal government. We're thankful that the administration recognizes the importance of making good on the first tranche of agreements.
Again, that's American Farm Bureau Zippy Duvall commenting on USDA's release of $20 million of frozen farmer funds. In other news, 2024's numbers are showing that farm bankruptcies up sharply. Federal courts reporting that 216 farm bankruptcies were filed in 2024, up 55% from the year before. All but one region had increases in Chapter 12 bankruptcy filings last year. However, keep in mind this is still a lower number than any year between 2007 and 2019. The Southeast, West, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Midwest all had double-digit increases in filings from 23 to 24. DTN is reporting the latest USDA cattle on feed report released on Friday shows 11.7 million head of cattle and calves in U.S. feedlots with a capacity of 1,000 or more as of February 1st. That's 1% lower than the same time last year. Placements in January totaled 1.82 million head, up 2% from 2024. Notable differences by state, though. Nebraska saw a 6% increase. Texas down 14%, partly due to ongoing bans on Mexican cattle imports. Livestock analysts are saying the report neutral to slightly bullish as both on-feed totals and placements were lower than expected. Another fairly interesting report from USDA recently released, the Farms and Land Farms report. Brian Combs of the National Ag Statistics Service goes over some of the findings from the latest numbers.
At a state level, there was nothing too surprising. Most of the states followed a similar trend to what we saw at the national level, so nothing that stood out at a state level. One interesting thing that did appear in the data this year was that the 1 million or more sales class, so we grouped those by farm sales and then classified the farms there. So they operated more than what they did in 2024. So we saw a lot more in that larger class of farms. In the 1 million or more category, they operated 1,490,000 acres more than they did in 2023. There is a little caveat to that some of those we might have had higher prices. While crop prices were down a little bit this year from the previous year, livestock prices in many categories were up quite a bit from 2023. So that could be people that were just on the verge of that $1 million. They got pushed in there. So it stands out a little bit that it's a higher acreage, but keep in mind there are some nuance when we start breaking those by categories and just the commodity prices of the particular survey period.
Breaking down those state numbers, in 2023, Ohio was noted to have 75,800 farms. Back last year, that dropped about 1,800 worth to a number of 74,000 farms. In that time, lost about 200,000 acres worth, with the official number being 13,500,000 acres in Ohio's farms. Average farm size went up about an acre from 181 acres in 2023 to 182 last year. We're getting a warm-up this week, says Ohio AgNet Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
No major changes in thought process. What we have here is a nice, strong southwest flow today. We're going to be seeing a minor disturbance come through early morning tomorrow through midday. Could put down a few spits and sprinkles, but generally just a lot of clouds. We have a frontal complex that wants to come through later Wednesday into early Thursday. Once again, some moisture. I think we can pick up anywhere from 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch with coverage around 70% of Ohio. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. The full forecast online at ohioagnet.com. Stay tuned. Markets next.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Closing commodity market numbers coming after Monday's trade in Chicago, seeing a down day for grain and higher for cattle, but down for hogs. March corn down 8 3/4 cents to 4.82½ per bushel. New crop corn 4.70 3/4, a drop of 4 1/4. March soybeans 10.29, down 10 1/2, while new crop beans at 10.51 3/4, down 8 cents. July wheat dropping 9 1/4 today to 6.08. Markets brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. February live cattle $1.08 higher to $198.90, as feeder cattle for April up 4.48 to 272.03. April hogs down 28 cents to 87.40, while May hogs dropped 45 cents to 91.50. Milk dropping about a nickel to a dime across the board. I'm Joel Norwood. This is the Ohio Ag Net.